Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to episode 4 of At What Cost. I'm TheSource, joining me is Azaraki. How are you doing today, man?
I'm alright. I think I might be starting to come down with a cold, but it's very light right now. So it's either just the very beginning or it's something where I'm only half getting a cold.
Alright, well,
So that works too.
hopefully you'll be able to soldier on throughout the show.
Oh yeah.
Well, we will go to the ends of the earth to talk about Dawngate for hours and hours and hours.
Hours and hours.
Alright,
Only 1 hour.
Well, at least
But we can
1
pretend
hour.
it's hours and hours.
Yeah. God, man, I just got a little bit of echo, stream lag on my thing. That's weird. Oh well.
So, did you
either
hit
way.
diamonds yet, or are you still plat like a baddie?
I'm still plat right now. I had a good day today. I won a couple matches. Oh, come on, dude. I can't play 24/7 as much as I would love to play Dawngate 24/7.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't called me on the fact that I'm still plat at the moment too.
Nah, you've always been flat, man.
Yeah, I play like 2 games a day. It'll be better when I graduate though.
Yeah, once you're out of school, that helps. Well, either way, guys, we are here and it's time to get into episode 4. So, a little bit different from our normal format. Normal formatting being we look through an entire game and then go over some solo queue clips. We actually wound up getting a game with pretty much everything we wanted to talk about this week. It had a lot of really, really good stuff in it. It was a long match. It was about 45 minutes or so. So, what that allows us to do is we're basically just going to talk about this match. It had lots of really good highlights for, individual plays. It had lots of good stuff for team fights, and it's going to cover the big topic we want to talk about, which is Predator this week. There wasn't a patch changeover. There weren't any new shapers. There hasn't been any crazy meta shifts. So we want to go over Predator, something that isn't talked about a lot, and, it's something that not a lot of people have experience with playing.
Not at all. And one of the big goals here was to sort of figure out what the good time is to play Predator. And because we see a lot of people in solo queue who just play Predator because they feel like it, or because, hey, I'm guaranteed going to get fed this game. But that can't always happen, and that's one of the reasons why Predator isn't widely used, is because it's just very inconsistent. So we're trying to see if we can get some inconsistency into, or wait, no, it's already inconsistent. We're gonna try to see if we can get some consistency into the role. And excuse me if I have lapses of stuff where I don't know what I'm doing.
It's all right. He'll black out and he'll come back and start talking about characters who aren't even in the match.
Yeah.
Either way, guys. So we're gonna get straight into this one match we're gonna go over today. This was a match where Azaraki played in the jungle. And I played I played Predator Cerulean. And the reason we went with this was because we wanted to see what would happen if you tried to play Predator with a proper jungle, with the jungler you knew, and you could coordinate, harass and a lot of things, and we were able to, do a lot of really good plays and make as much use of the Predator role as possible. So let's start in 3, 2, 1.
That little bit of a boom crash sound or whatever was me failing to pick up a water bottle. So that's fun too.
That's all right.
Hey, let's take a look at the team comp we have. So this is one that really supports Predator Cerulean because we have a mage, AD carry, and 2 tanks, which is pretty standard. And so Braun right now has the choice of going for a full-on bruiser build or going for a full-on tank build. Either one you can do with Cerulean. The one thing I would enjoy a little bit more is if we had one of our gladiators a better 1v2 shaper, because right now neither of them is particularly great at it. The one of the biggest problems with Kensu as a solo laner is that his mobility only works if you apply 4 stacks of your auto attacks onto a target.
Yeah, it makes him good at getting away some of the time. It's very, very easy to land those 4 stacks, especially once you get towards late game. You've picked up things like Fate and Judgment, which basically gives you AoE shrapnel and allows you to, get that bonus movement speed on the hunt off of multiple targets, and gives you a lot more range of motion. But he doesn't do all that well, and then Zalgus is pretty much sort of sits there and is a laser turret. So because of the fact that we had two good tanks, we had two good tanks, I was able to sort of build more of a bruiser build. Granted, I did go with a defensive start. My loadout was very, very defensive. It's my standard tank support loadout because I was worried about taking damage early. Cerulean is one of those melee shapers who has no range whatsoever and no dash. That should be kept in mind, as opposed to playing Kel, who has his dash with his sheep, or playing with Renzo, who's one of the other melee shapers who has kinetic sculpture. Reyna has her E, which I can't remember what that's called.
I don't either.
I can't remember the name of that spell, but her E has range, and Mara has her brambles. He's the only melee tank support shaper. Granted, Petrus really isn't a proper tank support, keep that in mind, that doesn't have any range. Even Salus has some range. So that's one of the things Cerulean has to keep, Cerulean has to worry about. So I went with a commander loadout. My commander loadout, which has Warden, which gives me a lot of good tank stats, and the regenerating shield.
Alright, can we pause here in 3, 2, 1? Alright, if you saw chat at all, we were talking about Cerulean Zalgus lane.
And Cerulean Zalgus lane.
At first, it may seem that it's a fairly really good lane because Cerulean can flip people towards Zalgus and Zalgus can land easier CC. But to be honest, the best sort of shapers to run with Cerulean are ranged carries like Kensu or Makela, Nisa. You're familiar with those shapers. And the reason for that is because one of the biggest things that pulling someone towards your teammate does is it keeps them within their range for a longer period of time. With Zalgus, his big thing is burst damage, so he throws out his Q, he throws out his E, that's his burst damage. After that, he's auto-attacking, so keeping them near Zalgus longer doesn't really help at all. And on top of that, if you flip someone with an escape or some sort of gap closer, then they can jump on Zalgus really easily because Zalgus is super, super squishy. So it's not necessarily the best lane combination, and we were just having a little bit of an argument with our teammates there.
Yeah, it wasn't even really that much of an argument. It was the fact that Zalgus thought it was a good idea based on, those previous thoughts, and we were like, actually, this is what we need to worry about. So he at least kept that in mind while we were playing, and it sort of helped us avoid a couple of bad situations. So restart in 3, 2, 1. So we're up against a double range lane. I am sad, for I am Cerulean, master of getting in people's faces and also tanking a bunch of damage. So pretty much this lane, we have to play very, very defensively. Our other lane, they'll play a standard lane. We have to, be very, very scared of what we do. And we're going to have to wait a while to be able to do all that much until Azaraki shows up to add a little bit of gank pressure, or they mess up. They step out of place, I'm able to get my damage down. Which, if you're playing a Viana Ashabel lane perfectly, that'll never happen.
So as most junglers, you have the option of either starting Resilience or Power. In this game specifically, I made the conscious effort to start at my Resilience because Braun here was starting in the bot lane and he's our Predator. So what that allows me to do, it just allows me to clear Resilience, go clear Haste, clear Power, and then one more camp after that and I'm level 4, which means that I have my full skill rotation and I also have 2 points in my E as Petrus, which helps me clear. What this does is that means that once I can actually do something around the map, once I can start ganking or putting pressure on, I'm in the bot lane in order to do that. If I started Power, then I would hit level 4 near the top side of the lane, and the big goal we have here is to try to get Braun the extra stuff he needs for Predator. That includes Spirit Well Harass, as well as kills and assists.
Yeah, and there, you guys saw, I was pressuring forward, and they should have been hitting me constantly. They should have been beating the crap out of me, but they didn't, out of fear. And you saw me flip the Viana. The Viana was scared. They backed up. One thing you really need to keep in mind in lanes, especially against the Predator, anyone who's trying to get in your face, is you should be pushing the wave into their tower. They will miss more CS at early level, and it'll wind up being more value for you than stalling the wave in the middle of the lane. It doesn't have as much value. Zalgus pushed up the wave. They were behind by about 2 or 3 creeps on hitting level 2, and we were able to get down good harass and now positioning.
All right, and talk about your loadout that you're using right now, what sort of stats does it have?
So this is I call it my commander loadout. It's my tank support loadout. So it is the Warden Stone, the large Warden Spirit Stone, which gives me a shield for 7% of my maximum health, regenerating every 10 seconds. I don't take damage, which is why you guys see that that small amount of white on my health bar, and why I'm so willing to go in and tank a lot of damage to the face. They actually could have done a lot more damage to me there. Viana does a really good job of harassing me. And then it's mostly health percentage, armor, defensive stats. And here, we actually realized that for some reason their jungler hasn't taken his resilience buff, so we just kind of steal it for free.
Yeah, our original intention was to go to the Spirit Well, and Predator gets more Vim for killing these minions, as you see right here.
I get 12 at the start.
All right, 12, which is a pretty good amount. That's a caster minion, I believe, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of them per Spirit Well, so you can actually make a decent amount of bank with harassing these Spirit Wells. And right here we see that their team has decided to collapse, although Zalgus wasn't on his way, which is
Yeah,
sort
you
of,
got mad
sort of
about
odd.
that a little bit.
Yeah, I did. And as this fight plays out, you'll see that we actually get rather close to killing some of them. Also, the saves.
Yeah, that was a really good save. Had Zalgus joined a little bit sooner, it would have probably resulted in some kills. In the end, it didn't hurt us too much. He was able to push up the wave, get that, back to reset mode. I'm able to... Do I back yet? No, I think you guys going for a first blood, or... No, Ashley gets away. Or does she? Or does she? No, yeah, he's going to pick up the kill.
The Drain should have that.
No, the Drain doesn't. I remember this. The Drain doesn't do it because you said she was running a potion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Which is unfortunate. So we had a chance to pick up a kill, but at the same time, no one really died on our side either. So we just have to look at what sort of control everyone had. As you said, Zalgus pushed up the wave and ended up denying a little bit of farm from the red team there. And we also got the resilience buff from their team and a little bit of Spirit Well harass. So we certainly came out ahead in that engagement, even though we didn't fully get a kill.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing about Predator. Predator has to harass Spirit Wells. Not at the detriment of losing lane pressure, not at the detriment of giving up kills, not leaving your carry in the lane on their own, but you have to find a way to get at them. They're really great in the mid game, especially when everything is moving around, but if you can pick up some early Spirit Well harass, Spirit Well minions will die within 2 basic attacks of most Shapers. I think maybe only a couple can't, and those are really Shapers you shouldn't be playing Predator on. And with Cerulean, I get the AoE spin clear, and then I'm able to basic attack, basic attack, basic attack, pick them up one after the other. Purity also, I don't care if you're a Predator Kindra, I don't care if you're a Predator Calm. It really shouldn't matter. Pick up a Purity in your lane. It'll save your lane carry a lot of trouble.
And here comes a gank. I'm not level 6 yet, but I think you can get the flip. No.
No, it was that glitch out on the ultimate.
How did that snipe miss? Because that seriously was... I don't quite see how that
I may have to go back in there and break down that frame at some point. I may clip that out for next episode and be like, okay guys, we talked about this. Let's really look at this one again. But again, we were able to put up heavy pressure. Aza was focusing our lane. The other lane was doing okay. They didn't need the help. And because we had so much focus from a Petrus coming down, who's a really strong ganker, it resulted in their jungler spending a lot more time down here anyway. So our top lane was pretty much free to do as they pleased.
And we can get a lot of free damage right here, and at this point I'm basically calling for us to get out, but then I see that Zalgus is on his way, and I'm like, we might be able to bait them into something, and you can see Zalgus is level 7 right there. So if we were to catch anyone, he should end up being able to burst most of their health, even if he doesn't have their ultimate. But either way, we still get a decent amount of Spirit Well harass. So again, Braun's doing pretty well in terms of gold, and we'll be able to see the full effects of everything we're doing at the very end of the game. But as it stands, we can't quite see individual Vim counts yet.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is you just saw 3 creeps die to the tower. That's probably about 10 creeps that have died to tower. So that's not 10 creeps behind in CS, that's 10 creeps completely lost. I think I got a little caught out here.
Yeah,
Or no,
we're
this will result in a kill. This will result in a this. So this is the real play here. Salas is gonna miss his play and go on to Azaraki. Azaraki, I think no. Do we? I thought we fought this one.
we might still fight it. I think
Yeah,
someone tries to
Kindred
get
dives in. Really good chain out of him. Oh, he dies. No, he dies. So our because their Kindred roam down, our top lane was able to pick up a kill, and we'll lose Zalgus for it. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Kind of meh because they picked up a few more assists, but you know we were pretty
Oh my
deep.
god, yeah. This is the part where they try to take my power buff, and this is going to be cool because I know they're taking my power buff, so I go around the long way in order to try to check that, so that I don't have to walk near the bushes, because for all I know, he could be taking it in the bushes. So right there, I see him. You can see on the minimap that I'm trying to find him out. Maybe this isn't the big play yet, but there's a big play somewhere.
Yeah, no, the first play that really turns it and starts to let me on Predator really do well, and the fact that we've put so much pressure onto their lane, the Vin difference starts to show out between our carries. So yeah, I've picked up a Will because Will, just the bonuses off of Will at level 1 is still very, very good. It's a very good starting item, and we're up against a double AP lane. I kind of needed it. I'm actually in the process of rushing out Stability because Ashabel has stupid CC and Viana has stupid CC. They're going to keep me in place and slow me down a lot. Picking up a Stability is health, magic resist, and the CC reduction, which is just key against this much crowd control. Plus, they have a Salas who's going to be trying to lock me down whenever I go in for fights.
Something interesting to note about Dawngate is that tenacity actually stacks. So you can get both stability and momentum, and then you'd have what's 30% of 60?
20.
Yeah, so you'd have about
Ish.
50% cooldown reduction ish. Yeah. Or not cooldown reduction, 50% CC reduction if you build both of those items. It's not additive, so you're not going to get 60, but 50 is still quite a bit, and on top of that, it does give you fairly good base stats, so that's always something to consider. Momentum is also really good because it blocks one CC item. It's like in League of Legends, almost like a Banshee's Veil, except the damage still goes through, so it only prevents you from being stunned or I think it's just
here's a
not
pickup. So that's my first kill. That is the beginning of the Predator problems. Viana was low health. I'm a Cerulean. Never stay near a Cerulean who's low health, especially one who's going Predator. You know, we easily dived in, chained her down, picked up the kill. Not a problem.
Yeah, and you'll see that periodically Braun's going to go harass the Spirit Well, and he's getting experience from that, and a little bit more experience when he kills the creeps at the Spirit Well as well. So by doing that, Zalgus gets solo lane farm, so he's getting a decent amount of boost in experience, and Braun can still keep up, which is really cool about the Predator lane, and then you'll probably talk about that play right there.
Yeah, I got screwed. I went ham. I didn't realize that that their Salas was a level ahead of me, and B, I didn't think he was going to be able to unload his full damage potential. Like, I didn't think he'd hit me hard enough. Granted, I don't have the resistances yet to really tank him. I don't have any bonus armor other than what was in my loadout, and I don't have that much bonus health. I have the purity, but that really wasn't enough to sit there and tank a full combo from him. So that was pretty much just me being out of position. I think it's a little... Did they take top tower first?
I'm not sure. One thing though, you see near the bottom half of the map, that really deep ward we have, that's basically just me playing towards the fact that we have a Predator. So that ward will allow me to see anyone who tries to stop us from taking the Spirit Well really far in advance. So even if it's Salas, who has a really long gap closer, we'll generally be able to get out before he manages to show up because of that ward. So it's a really sort of a safety sort of ward that allows us to harass the Spirit Well without further problems.
Yeah, it also shows that small bush near near the entrances to Spirit Wells, so that can give you a lot of help. Like that is so key that it'll show the entrance from the bush as well as the entrance coming around the corner. Yeah, and I think Ashabel, God, she's just so annoying to try and kill. It isn't until late game where I really have the potential to like lock down Ashabel, and you'll see that in some of my item build. But right now our team is fairly far ahead. We've done a really good job of harassing. I'm completely in sync with their carry or their support. Oh yeah, we're gonna lose Zalgus here and probably me. Yeah, I die here.
Yeah, we have a 4-man bot, which is very unfortunate. And
Do you die?
I don't
I
think
think you make it out with like 2 health.
I might.
No, you're dead.
Yeah,
You're so dead.
Right. They ended up trapping me, and there's really nowhere I could have gone. Even if I'd have kept running left, then Salus would still be able to jump to me and dash to me, or there's still just a multitude of things that could have been done. Kindra has 2 dashes now after the rework, so I might as well just try to fight under the tower and get as much health off of them as I can to prevent them from pushing down the rest of the tower. Unfortunately, that didn't quite help. The tower still goes down, but I can always think in my mind that I delayed them a little bit, which happened a little bit, I guess.
Moral victories.
Also, if you guys want to ask us any questions about anything that's going on in the game or anything in general Dawngate related, go ahead and ask those in chat. We will be watching the chat 24... No, we're just for this hour that the show is on.
The chat will always be up. Always. No. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask us anything, especially about builds and what I was specifically thinking during certain situations. I'll talk about it as much as I can, but if you have anything like, why did you build this at this exact moment in time, I can be like, this is probably why I did it. And, as much as we can do to help. So, in terms of builds, I've just finished Freedom, which is partway to Stability. I'm starting to get extra haste. I'm starting to get extra magic resist, and God, this Ashima got away so many times. It should have been a kill. I thought Zalgus was closer.
Ashabel escaping so many times. I think that's 3 or 4 times so far this game. But right now, again, not really too much is happening other than just and everyone's just posturing around. And
there we go.
Oh,
those were the kills.
That was a chain.
That was a beautiful chain, so we'll pick up one there. I'll flip him over me as he tries to kick me, which was really hilarious. Pop out a Tailwind. As always, guys, build Tailwind. It's awesome. And beautiful flash away. Are we not going to get that? Yeah, no, we get that.
Yeah, we get that.
I think that was the big play you were talking about, where we pick up 4 kills. So our other lane simultaneously picked up a kill while we did that. We traded 1 for 4. And now I'm able to like completely destroy this spirit well for gold. I now have, I just built my Freedom coming back into the lane. The number of kills, we picked up 3 kills there. I got 1 of them and 2 assists. That just resulted in me getting 2,300 gold off of those kills, those assists, the spirit well, and I think we also take the tower here too, and then I'm at 2,600 gold. That is a huge power spike, and this is how you make Predator valuable. You do it off of coordinated plays. It's not about your solo kills, at least not in the early to mid game. It's about playing the proper support role, not getting as much immediate gold, and then turning things in really good mid-game team fights so that you spike up huge amounts of damage and are able to come in around the time you're looking to do bigger tower pushes and parasites, and nobody can stop you.
Yeah, so in the early to mid-game, the biggest way you're going to keep up is in Spirit Wells, and that's just sort of to keep your incomes nearly on par with everyone else. And then the kills and assists is how you can actually start making more than some of the other choices you have, like Tactician. He would have not had as much as a Tactician, mainly because, first of all, the Spirit Well equaled out most of the Spirit Well harass equaled out most of the Vim he'd be missing off of Tactician, and then a couple of kills and assists on top of that actually ends up putting him farther ahead than most Tacticians would be. And this might be the play. This might be the play where a bunch of things happen.
No, that's not the one. But,
there was one where I was really low health and everything just happened simultaneously.
I don't know if it's this one. I mean, I might get something. No, you'll live here. I think we back off this play. I think it's a little bit later. But again, our top lane didn't get any jungle pressure. They were able to handle the 2v2. They did perfectly fine there. They went 1 for 1 in that last engagement. Not the greatest. This is one of those plays. So this is them getting just horrid positioning. Don't spend that time under tower. I just basically got to pick up a free kill, and now they're starting to feed the Predator, and that is the last thing you want to do. They're fighting in between towers. Don't do that. Don't do that if you can avoid it. I'm just able to simultaneously hold off 3 people, harass, and I picked up a kill.
And as you saw before with their rotation, Ashabel was at the back, and she was a good 1.5 seconds behind everyone else from walking into that bush over there, which means that she was easily picked off by Braun to get flipped. And we're going to end up catching them overstaying a little bit. And I don't know if we're going to be able to pick up kills here.
No, Kensu's going to come in for backup. So right here, they're chasing really, really deep. And they're not focused. They're focusing the tank. They didn't focus me, which they probably should have. I'm going to die here, but Kensu's going to pick up a double kill. At least I think so.
I think he gets a triple.
He picked up a triple kill. So that right there was Kensu's dash, but what made that valuable was the fact that Azaraki baited them for so long. I picked up 1 kill in that engagement, so they essentially, over the course of the last 60 seconds, traded 4 kills for 2. Like, 4 kills for 2. Yeah, they got the tower, but we picked up a lot of additional assist gold, and again, they put so much of that gold towards me, the Predator, that I now have stability and judgment at 19 minutes plus another tier 2 and a tier 1 item. That's crazy. Like that is such a huge spike. Like, they keep spiking me towards my items because they're overstaying and not respecting the amount of damage that a Predator can do.
And one thing about Predator that a lot of people that you really need to keep in mind is that Predator isn't a role about getting kills. Predator's a role about getting kills and assists. So even though Braun ended up dying there, and he didn't get most of the kills Kensu did, he still made out with a lot of Vim after the end of that engagement, because he got an assist on every single one of those kills, except for the Ashabel, which he actually...
It would have been about 2,000. It would have been about 2,000 Vim. I walked out of that fight with about 2,000 Vim. After that.
And that's something that you saw that Braun was willing to die in order to help Kensu get the rest of the kills. That's something you need to make sure you're not afraid of either, because if you can end up making sure that whoever it is secures kills, that'll end up netting you more gold than you trying to survive and trying to pick up more kills for yourself. So it's Predator's more of a team-based role than a lot of people realize.
Yeah, and you guys just saw me at that spirit well. I started at about 400 gold. I walked away with about another 200. So 200 gold off of clearing a spirit well, just for the creeps. So they should have been a little bit safer. We're not going to get the parasite, but that's 1 free kill, 2 free kills. I think I picked up both of those. No, I picked up one of those. 3 kills?
I don't know if...
No, she's going to kill us both, and we're going to both be sad.
Yeah, that's right. And now we're both sad. So that was an unfortunate play, and one of the biggest parts about that is that they actually ended up getting Parasite, which is probably the thing that went most in their favor in that fight, because Parasite is going to allow them to continue to push, and they're going to be on our half of the map for the next 5 minutes until the Parasite buff wears off. So we're not really going to be able to go out and get on their half of the map to take their spirit wells. We're not going to be able to push on their half of the map to take their bindings, and we're going to have to play defensively for a little bit. In terms of the trade, another cool thing about Predator is that there's still no greater penalty for dying. With Predator, if you die, you don't lose Vim, you don't gain less Vim than you would if you didn't die. It's 100% based off of kills, assists, and spirit wells. So even though we ended up dying there, Braun still got a decent amount of gold, or a decent amount of Vim, because we got a couple of kills out of that, a couple of kills and assists. So he's still going to be making a little bit more than he normally would have.
Yeah, I walked away from that with about an extra 1,000 Vim or so, than I normally would have if I'd been anything else. And the thing of it is it's such a better mid-game role than Tactician. Tactician is great for laning, and it's really good if you're playing pushing strats. You're going to play teamfight strats, find a way to work a Predator in there, because you're going to get so much more gold onto that bruiser. And preferably you want it to be a bruiser, sometimes an assassin, like a Kindra. Kindra's the other, really good, well-operating Predator. You put a lot of really good gold onto them in mid-game teamfight phase. And here, I just walk over, clear it really quickly, walk away. 300 gold in my pocket.
Yeah, and that only took, about 4 or 5 well, more than that, like 5 or 10 seconds. But still, it's a very good amount of Vim, especially you want to
I think
also
this is the
consider
play
when
you
your
were
lanes are
thinking
pushed.
of. Yeah, this was the play you were thinking of. So I just picked up 2 kills, and I think I'll pick up a third. So I was at 1300. I was at 1300 Vim. I'm now at 2.6. That's a huge spike. I just went up 12. I just went up 1300 more Vim. I'm about to be able to back and finish most tier 2 items, most tier 3 items, and I'm gonna walk over and take this tower, putting me at about 2.8.
Yeah, and this tower is just a couple hits from dying, so we're going to be able to pick it up really quickly, even if we don't have the minion wave to do it. And one cool thing, again, about Predator is that sometimes you just take a few seconds to go off to the side and take a Spirit Well. That's really cool if you don't have any of their team's minions to kill. If their team's minions aren't pushing in towards ours, then that means that we're not going to be able to farm the waves in order to get Vim. So you can end up farming Spirit Wells as a Predator, and on top of that, it's a different style of Vim distribution. And I think I end up showing up here. We might be able to turn something. I think he's still going to die. Oh, that's a good blink.
Yeah, no, that was a really good blink away by him, and yeah, so that was our Kel getting over aggressive. Kel did not need to fight that in the least at all. Didn't need to happen, but he did. It wasn't the smartest play, especially considering the fact that they have Striders pushing. It's gonna put us a little bit behind. We lost 4 for that, so we lost our kill advantage there. We are gonna need to spend some time clearing out. But one awesome thing is I've just picked up Impulse, which is just a glorious item that people underestimate. What Impulse does is it depends on if you're melee ranged. If you're ranged, whenever you click on someone who's outside of melee range, who's inside of your attack range, it will jump you away from them. So it's a free kite, like a free short kite dash. If you're melee, it'll jump you at people. So I'm able to now gap close, as you can see. Just by clicking on her right there. Granted, I should have done it sooner. I forgot I just bought Impulse while I was in the game. But you saw me dash forward. I'm now able to dash forward to get my flips without needing to immediately use my jump. So I can dash, flip, spin, fight, get a little bit low, and then jump a lower character to get the full value of my ultimate.
And Matt of LA, that is pretty much correct. The thing about Tactician is that you get bonus Vim for harassing enemy shapers and being near minions as they die. So in the early game, that's really good, and that's really one of the best sources of income, possibly even greater than Gladiator unless you're a really good farmer, because you get more Vim for standing near minions while your Gladiator kills them, but you also get more for damaging the enemy shapers. Now, the reason that's not quite as good mid-game is that sometimes you'll end up in a lull where either your minions are way too pushed out and you can't really get to their minions unless you want to overextend, which is never a good thing because then you get caught out and die. And alternatively, if you just barely cleared their minion wave and another one isn't going to be here for another 15 seconds, you're not really going to get too much Tactician bonus there either. And even more in terms of the mid-game. In the mid-game, when you see the enemy shapers, you're most likely going to be in an engagement rather than just poking out. So you're not going to be able to make the most of the actual Tactician bonus, seeing as it has about a 5-second cooldown on the harass bit of it. So Predator, in the mid-game, if you plan on team fighting a lot, it ends up getting you a little bit more Vim. However, Predator's much more reliant on having a decent team that you can work around, like Braun and I did near the early game, to make sure we got wells and to make sure we secured kills.
Yeah, the other thing is it's as he said, it's very team fight oriented. If you're gonna play a comp that's got really good push, really good wave clear, then Tactician is fine. Double Tactician won't hurt you. If you're gonna play something that wants to pick fights all the time, play a Predator. If it's the right character, don't play Predator on something that's a utility support. But if you have something that's a bruiser, it has to be something with kill potential. So Cerulean, Kindra, Amaranth, King of Masks. Those are really, some of the better Predators in the game right now, because they have legitimate kill potential, but they also have support, semi-supporting abilities. Kindra, not so much. Kindra's pretty much all kill. You can Predator Forest. That's another good option, although I personally dislike Forest. And again, I'm now able to start picking up our kills, and that's not hurting my gladiators, who are technically supposed to be the carries. It's not hurting them because they farmed up great in the early game. My Zalgus got ahead in levels. He's still the highest level in the game, and now I'm able to start distributing out more gold and picking up bigger items. Again, I'm now at another 2,000 gold. I'll be able to walk, back to base, and I think the next thing I'm picking up is a pain. I'm getting very, very close to speeding up my endgame build so that I have as much good team fight potential, and then I can shift my build later to readjust if I need it.
Also, in terms of the rest of the roles, when you want to go Predator, the only role you really want to swap out for a Predator is Tactician. First of all, you don't want to swap out your Hunter for a Predator, mainly because Hunter as a role gives you so many benefits for the jungle. You get extra Vim for killing jungle creeps. You get health back according to a percentage of any neutral minion you kill, and that includes the Parasite. Actually, you get extra health from dealing the killing blow to Parasite, which works really well with Vanquish, and you can actually end up baiting fights pretty well with that, which I found kind of interesting. And you also end up doing more damage to neutral camps. So those are so important to have as a hunter. You don't want to swap that out for a Predator. And in terms of Gladiator, you don't really want to swap Gladiator out for Predator because basically you get so much Vim from actually being able to farm minions effectively. And that's one thing you can really do throughout most of the game, is you can go, alright, I'm going to head top and clear a wave real quick, and that'll give you a bunch of Vim. On top of that, generally your Predator is going to be the one that doesn't stay in lane. Predator is going to want to harass Spirit Wells, it's going to want to gank the other lane, it's going to try to make action happen all around the map. And that if you do that, then you're basically leaving your Tactician alone in the lane, so your Tactician can get solo farm, but he's only going to end up getting whatever it is, 9 Vim per caster minion. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it's,
I think 9 is right.
It's sort of wasting out a little bit of that extra bonus that you can get from Gladiator from the lane creeps.
Yeah. So again, Predator has to be someone with kill potential. That's the the key point. It needs to be someone who has solid kill potential. Don't pick up Predator on Mina, on Zeri, on Renzo, on Reyna. Don't use it on the... Oh, this is the play. This is the play where Vex shouldn't have been in the bush. So I'm going to dive in and flip him. We instantly start to destroy them. I have been sitting in the middle of the fight and spinning and cutting all of their healing in half because I had a pain on me. We're able to get a lot of good damage off of the Zalgus ultimate. We had additional spin damage coming in from Azaraki, lockdown from Kel. Kensu was able to do a little bit of free reign. We pick up 3 free kills.
And actually, I'm going to go back and tell you a good time to start, because that was definitely a fight to talk about again. Alright, 32:15. Back up to there, and we'll slowly go through and talk about the fight. Because this is a really key fight that happened, and even though we were about even in terms of Vim, kills, pushing, and basically the game was even at this point, we were still managed to completely roll a fight and I think get 3 kills for 0, or maybe 2 kills for 0.
Yeah, it was a 3 for 0. So yeah, back at 32:15, you guys can see I've highlighted Vex. He's sitting in that bush, and I'm not that far away. I'm just outside of jump range by maybe about 2 or 3 steps.
And you can see that Vex is going to be auto-attacking out of the brush, which actually reveals him, which is also not a great idea when you're this separated from an enemy team and you're up against Cerulean. So we can roll the clip in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
Alright, and you can see that everyone basically wants to crowd around Vex to try to save him, and that allowed me to get a 3-man jump. On top of that, the 3-man jump, Petrus's jump stun, allowed Zalgus to land his chain on all 3 members of their team that tried to protect Vex right there. He also landed his E and his ultimate, so he evenly distributed all of his damage across those 3 targets, and it just basically cleaned up that entire fight right there. The only people who were safe were the ones who weren't even a part of the fight, if that puts anything into perspective there.
Yeah, it was their Kindra who was able to dash away, and Ashbao who was way too far back in the back line. Um, I don't know why I didn't buy anything. I must have been still rethinking that build. Oh, I was on my way to go steal buffs. I was going secret agent Cerulean off to go steal buffs.
Predator Dibs really, for that you really need to understand Dibs as a shaper and play him really, really well, because the strongest part about Predator Dibs is Dibs' ultimate. It's basically something where he can teleport to any point on the map wherever he wants to. So you need to be on point with your map awareness, and you need to make sure that you know and understand how to use your ultimate. Because if, say, there's an engagement about to happen in the top lane, you use your ultimate. If you're playing bot lane Dibs, use your ultimate right then and be right there for the start of the fight. That way you can turn around the fight, pick up a couple of assists really easily, and win the fight for your team. I've seen a lot of Predator Dibs, however, not do anything like that. They just stay in lane and try to force a kill lane, which is not really what you do with Dibs. So where Cerulean is more towards go and harass the Spirit Well because you have really good AoE clear, and you're also tanky enough so that if they catch you out at the Spirit Well, you're probably going to be able to get away anyway. On top of that, Cerulean can get easy lane kills. Predator Dibs is so much more about making action happen in the other lane and forcing ganks and making plays with your ultimate. So if you can use his ultimate effectively, Predator Dibs is good. If you can't, then he's really not a good choice.
Really more of a full team kind of thing if you're playing with a full group of 5 and you guys can coordinate those plays. The other thing is Predator Mina is less about her assists, and Predator Mina does tend to get a lot of assists because she tends to be involved in a lot of fights. The reason for that is she's generally riding a carry. She's generally on the back of an AD carry for the most part, building Pestilence to give them the permanent Pestilence bonus. Oh, I think I went a little ham here. Yeah, I went a little ham here. So I should have stuck to the Vex more. I broke off and started trying to deal with Salus, and we should have dealt with Vex because he kind of just sort of shreds us all really, really badly.
Yeah, and Vex can sometimes have hidden damage because sometimes you don't necessarily notice it at the beginning, but Vex has AoE Shred on his auto attacks if he uses his ultimate, and through that fight he was able to hit 3 of us at a time with that, and 3 tanks too, so he was able to deal true damage, or wait, no, magic damage, and physical damage as well as health percentage damage. So that just ended up shredding our team right there. So a couple of things you want to take away from this fight is if Vex is under tower, try not to fight him because it's going to be so much harder to get to him, dash onto him, and kill him. And also, if you're against Vex, don't fight in a corridor, because corridor is a perfect bottleneck for Vex's ultimate to hit multiple people.
Yeah. Back to Predator Mina. The reason you don't want to play Predator Mina and Tactician Mina is stronger is because Mina is generally riding on top of an AD carry, sometimes an AP carry, but usually with one of the 2 gladiators. That means she's constantly with them, giving them the speed bonus to move around the map when they're farming. That allows you to get continuous use out of the Tactician into the mid game, where you're not sitting in a lane with a carry. Well, Mina kind of always is. So that's one of the reasons I believe that Tactician Mina is stronger than Predator Mina. You can do it. I won't say don't, but keep in mind the fact that you don't lose out on that mid game loss of being near minion kills because you're playing Tactician. Because you're Mina, you're pretty much always with one of the carries, or at least you should be trying to keep helping them move around the map and protecting them.
And on top of that, Mina is not really someone who can make plays by herself. Whereas you have Cerulean who can show up in a lane, ulti on someone, jump on them, flip them back, slow them, and that's a lot of kill power and that's a lot of initiation potential. Whereas with Mina, you can walk into a lane, but unless you have someone to jump on, you can't actually get your fear down, and a lot of your damage comes from being able to jump on and off a carry, empower their auto attacks, and basically do all that. What I'm trying to get at is that you're much more reliant on having someone already there that you can work off of, whereas most other people who you're good with playing Predator, they can go harass the Spirit Well on their own. They can go gank top lane, jump on their carry, jump off, and fear. Whereas, sorry, I just kind of lost my train of thought there. But
Whereas Mina doesn't have the potential to do that. She doesn't have the AoE clear. She doesn't have the immediate kill potential. She needs reliance. Cerulean can go into 1v1 people. Kindred can go into 1v1 people. Calm can go into 1v1 people. Emerald can go into 1v1 people. Those are your really strong predators. Dibs can 1v1 people sometimes when Dibs has gotten some stupid farm.
Dibs is more of a team fight predator too. So basically, if a fight happens, he can always be at that fight. So he's one of the shapers that can easily get 100% kill participation.
Yep, and so we'll dive in on the Vex, pick him up easy. The biggest problem with this fight here is Salus wasn't in it, and we lost our AD carry pretty quickly. We'll pick up some decent revenge kills, and it comes out to about even. But we did kind of need to get out of there. We kind of stayed a little bit too long. I dived a little too deep. It was mostly bad on my call to dive. I dove a little too hard and I went a little too ham, although that's kind of what you have to do on Predator Cerulean. You kind of need to go ham. I don't know. It was just a slightly misplayed team fight.
And as you can see, Braun is already nearly full build. I think you're trying to get Defiance next?
Yeah, Defiance, so that when I'm low, I spin and spin and flip and spin and flip and spin.
So you can already see his economy getting out of control with 9 kills and 15 assists. This is a really good game to be a Predator in. And he's got 5 purple items and 1 blue item, where most other people have, at this point, 3 or 4 purple items and the rest are blue items.
Granted, there's a little bit of gold discrepancy there. Pain is actually a pretty cheap item. So, I'd say that's accelerated me by about 5 minutes.
Right, and you can even see my build. I had 3 purples and 1 blue, which doesn't necessarily mean I'm behind, but my Petrus build generally requires a lot of really expensive items. Defiance being one of them, and Hope being another one. I think it's Hope. Yeah, it's Hope.
Yeah, Hope's a pretty expensive item. It's like a 32.
Yeah, it's
like
up there. I don't know the exact numbers,
item.
but
I honestly don't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's sitting at around 2,900 or 3,000. So it's a decent chunk of Vim. So that's why my build is mostly behind. But just overall, looking at the scoreboards, you can see that Braun is either one of the top farmer or one of the top Vim gains, or one of the or just the top Vim gainer there.
Yeah, I've raked in a lot, and I'm 9-7-15. That's like a really, really good carry score. But the 15 assists, those 15 assists are worth so much additional gold to me. That's like maybe 100. That's maybe 1,500 gold more.
And Predator's also good on those sort of suicidal champs like Cerulean, who just jumps in and then does things. He doesn't really care whether or not he gets out alive. The point of Cerulean is to jump in, disrupt, fling people back, or fling their carry back so that the rest of the team can jump on them, and deal AoE damage and be an annoyance. And with Predator, as I said before, you don't get punished for dying, so if you jump in and hit all 5 members of their team and distract them, annoy them, outposition them, deposition them, whatever you're doing, then you've gotten your Predator bonus right there. So you don't necessarily need to be the person who stays alive at the end of the fight to clean everything up. You're still going to get a lot of Vim gains. So that's why Cerulean is a decent Predator, because he doesn't care if he dies or not. He just jumps in and does things.
Yeah. And again, but we're not saying just go hand over kills, but when you get to a point in the late game where you're able to help guarantee a kill and then result in a couple of assists for the team, that winds up being worth 3 kills to you. That winds up being 600-700, Vim off a single play. Sometimes even 1,000 Vim off a single play. If you say you pick up a double kill and 2 assists, or a double kill and 3 assists, or even just 5 assists, that's gonna be a huge amount of gold because of what Predator offers you. And you have to be willing to make those sacrifices for the team.
And if you will draw your attention to the Parasite, you can see solo Q warding in action. I honestly have no idea why we have 4 wards on Parasite. That's really not needed. 2 at the very most is what you should have on Parasite. 1 near your team's entrance and 1 near their team's entrance. This play was basically me going absolute ham, which is not generally the best idea.
Yeah, that went bad because Vex didn't die. Oh, this is the play. This is the parasite of doom. Okay, so Vex didn't die here. That was bad. That puts us very behind. I am Saruru, the choo-choo train. Nothing can stop me. I'm a locomotive. I will run and slow and run and slow.
Really?
And dude,
You couldn't get anything better than Saruru the choo-choo train?
I'm Saruru the choo-choo train. It's not the vroom vroom build. It's the almost vroom vroom build.
That's not going to become a thing.
Fine, not a thing.
With the choo-choo train.
Fine, not a thing. But either way, the point is here's a moment where they should have been committed. They weren't. I back and get my Defiance, my last item, and I pick up 2 pots, which I immediately pop. I am now as strong as a Cerulean can be, considering this build. They now set 2 to Parasite and 2 to Push. That was wrong. I instantly dive on Kindra, drain her, kill her.
Yeah.
That has now stopped their push.
Their team needed decisiveness, right? Basically, their team needed to have all of them go Parasite or all of them push. Splitting up like this is a horrible idea, as you could just see. If all 4 of them were pushing, they might have been able to kite around Braun and kill him, but instead he picks up 1 kill, goes towards Parasite, stops them from taking it, and picks up another kill.
Yeah, I stopped both objective gains. I stopped them from pushing, and I stopped them from taking Parasite. That was key for our team, because now they're down for 40 seconds and 60 seconds. And they were doing Parasite without a tank and without an AD carry. It was a mage and a support, and that was just wrong. That was just a bad decision. The sustain damage isn't there. They can't tank it up enough, and now we're able to just walk in, free Parasite.
Also, if you think Parasite's the right play, but none of the rest of your team is on their way, say you have 2 people at Parasite, just don't do it, right? If your team's not going to do it with you, just back off from it. Trying to take it with 2 people, even if it is the correct call, if you don't have enough manpower to do it, then just back off of it and say, alright, we'll just do this later, or we'll push instead, rather than trying to take the Parasite with 2 people. Otherwise, basically what'll just happen will happen, and I think part of that might have just been their team, a couple of members of their team saying, no, Parasite's the good option, Parasite's the good option, and they started trying to take Parasite without having their entire team there.
Yep. So now clean dive on the Vex, pick up 1 kill. We can now rotate back to the tower, and this is late game. I hit really hard, so does our Kensu. We shred through the tower. At this point, I'm about as dangerous as an AD carry with the dive ability of an assassin.
Yeah, and right here, we're just going to be able to roll through the cores with hardly a problem, and that's once again me going ham. I should probably stop doing that, but I had stasis and blink, so I was able to get out of there, and I think I'm just going to end up going back in anyway, because YOLO, I guess.
Yeah, also my ult's back up. My ult was up at the start of that team fight. My ult came back up. That's another really hilarious thing about Defiance on a Cerulean. It helps bring your ult back up, and Cerulean ultimate generally gets down to about 35 seconds on this build, 37 seconds on this build. It's got a good chunk of haste on it across a number of items. So, my ultimate will be up in 20 seconds. Granted, I'm going to die here, but, I'm able to initiate fights if it's a prolonged team fight. Oh, yeah, this was really close. This was just Kindra being Kindra. It was like a basic attack, and then like the minion damage followed up, but she dies.
No,
she
that
pays.
was Zalgus's E.
No, the minion damage killed you.
Oh yeah, but Zalgus's E once again picks up a kill that was just about to leave, and I'm not really too sure why Vex was just trying to kill both of them without kiting. In a 1v2 situation like that, as Vex, you do have enough damage to 1v2, but when one of them is Zalgus, who does so much front-loaded burst damage if you don't dodge his spells, you really need a kite between auto attacks, and that's how you'll end up being able to win an engagement like that, rather than just standing still and being artillery. And that's something that a lot of people... I think part of it is just the fact that Dawngate's not quite a mature game yet, and so a lot of these higher-end mechanics aren't really being performed by a lot of people that you see. They will be performed at the very high, top 200 diamond tier level, but outside of that, you're not going to see too many of these little, just really nitpicky detail mechanics that will help you win the game.
Yep, so that's actually our show, guys. Again, I said this at the beginning, we're not doing our standard, run-through of clips. Show is only an hour, and we're pretty much coming up on that. We've got about 6 minutes left, so any questions you guys have, feel free to address the final ones now. And, I hope you guys got a good idea of how you can make Predator worth it. Because there's a lot of people are like, Predator's always worth it. It's like, and then everyone's like, no, don't do it. It's unstable. And they're like, but I always get the kills. Well, if you actually have a coordinated team behind you, you go in with a plan, you go in with the right characters, and you're able to, set up the plays for it, it can be worth it.
Alright, so we do have a question. Trent Stabler asks, how do you build jungle Cerulean? I want to play him jungle, but you seem to build more damagey than I do.
The reason I build damage...
First of all, I can pick on this guy because he's my friend. Trent, you're an idiot. We weren't playing jungle Cerulean.
We were playing Predator Cerulean, Trent. Jungle Cerulean builds tankier. It has to. Unless you've got double tanks in lane. So if you're running something like Reyna Mara, Reyna Renzo, Koggen Renzo, any of the proper... if you're running enough strong tanks... don't para. Asha ult actually doesn't hit hard enough to do that. I've done the numbers on it. It's like
it's only if
you really gotta mess up that smite.
Vanquish,
like the Vanquish has to be so screwed up. It does 300 damage at max. At max level, its base damage is about 300, and the ratio is on it's about a 0.4. It's 0.4 or 0.6. Somewhere it's either I think it's like 0.4, 0.5. It's really, really not enough. Like, you need a lot of power on her to make that worth it, and you're better off getting haste and other things and chain lightning to just ruin people.
And Vanquish does 900 damage, so that's quite a bit more than.
I think the biggest Asha ult I've seen has been something like maybe 700.
Yeah, so if the enemy jungler is not great at vanquishing, or someone can actually get a stun on their jungler before he ends up getting the vanquish, then you'll be able to steal with Asha ult. But either way, one thing about Para when Asha has her ult up is that it still does a lot of damage to the shapers. So if you're not in a good condition to take Para when there's an Asha on the enemy team, that might not be the best idea either, because when you're taking damage from Parasite and you're also adding the damage from Asherbell, and maybe there's one or two other people who are there trying to contest it, it will be able to add up. And in one of our earlier episodes, I think episode 2, we go pretty ham about talking about Parasite steals and how if, Parasite is so much easier and objective to turn than Baron or Roshan or any equivalent in basically any other game, because it does so much damage, and because it basically forces your team to choose between tanking the Parasite or sending your tanks to tank the Parasite, or sending your tanks to tank the enemy team when they try to contest. So you're going to have to choose one or the other. If you choose to tank the Parasite with your tanks, then their team is going to be able to kill your squishies without much opposition. If you decide to send your tanks over to prevent their team from trying to contest it, then Parasite's going to start targeting your squishies, which is a lot of free damage on your squishies. So with Parasite, you really want to be careful, and you want to make sure that you have advantage, and you want to make sure you have ward coverage before you go for a para play.
Yeah, definitely go check out episode 2. Everything will be linked out on the Reddit thread, and you guys can check that out. Jungle Cerulean, build him super tanky, unless you have 2 tanks in lane. Otherwise, you can go with and the build I was going for was sort of a high mobility bruiser. I have enough damage to shred down an AD carry if I have him suppressed, and an AP carry. I was also building a Pain. I was looking for a lot of AoE damage. I wanted to be in the middle of the fight. I wanted to cut their healing in half. So that's sort of where I was going, especially because of the builds they were going with. So there's the link to episode 2.
Well, that's just the link to the whole playlist.
Oh, that's the link to the playlist? Alright, so that'll give you guys all the episodes. And I think that is going to be it for the day, guys. Everyone, go have fun with Game of Thrones if you're a fan. Otherwise, hope to see you guys next week. Same time, same place. And if you guys do have some footage, send us video. We really want viewer submissions. Send us submissions of plays you guys have made. Some really sick, awesome play you made. Maybe you have an entire game you want us to look at. as you know, anything you guys are comfortable with, and I'm actually trying to get my hands on some competitive play, to show you guys, you know, what some games look like from some of the top. You know, I play around the top 200, but this is coordinated play from players in the top
Scrims.
200. These are scrims and tournament matches that I'm looking to get my hands on. So hope, you know, maybe next week, maybe, you know, episode 5, episode 6, we may have that. But till then, guys, send us your submissions, and thanks for watching.